How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massa Beer Reviews. Back with a beer. If it sucks, I might shed a tear because I want a really good porter right now. These guys don't fuck around. That be Twin Elephant Brewing. It's their Rugged Snuggle. Yeah, baby. This is an American porter. 6.2% alcohol by volume. Done. Pale. Pilsner. Crystal. Pale chocolate. Munich 2. Honey malts. Nugget Cascade. Saaz and American yeast. Yeah. This comes courtesy of my boy Keith. This beer is... I don't even think it's a week old. I'm tossing it around like an asshole, so it's gonna fucking jump out of the can like I'm an idiot, because that's what I do. Twin Elephant, man, one of my favorite tap rooms in the biz. I like their beers too. I mean, man, label wise, it's cool. It's a little bit of kind of, you know what it reminds me of? I'll let you guys guess. You guess before I say it. Give you 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Like a Korn album or something like that. Rugged Snuggle would be like a single off of their 2020 non-self-titled version. We're old now. Anyway, it looks like a porter. Head dissipating super quick. Looks more like cola than anything else. It looks more like kind of Pepsi Coke kind of poured out. Rich kind of brown color. You can tell it's not black, but you tell it's not stout either. It's got this kind of liveliness to this kind of like a lightness to it. So yeah, let's get a nose. Yeah, it's coffee. It's coffee. All the coffee arbol on us, but from a strictly 100% malt-driven perspective. You're never going to confuse this with actually being a dosed coffee beer, like a rested on coffee beer, but it has this kind of rich kind of maltiness that isn't quite kind of chocolatey malt. It isn't quite lighter kind of maltiness. It's kind of floating in that kind of middle ground with this big nutty characteristic along with this soft kind of chocolate maltiness and this really beautiful roastiness that kind of just makes you think of coffee. Yeah, nothing negative there. None of that bittering kind of thing that I get every now and then on darker beers, although that typically comes off more in the taste than anything else. Nice sweetness to it. But that, again, the way the malt comes off, there's a roasty bittering to it that I believe is going to carry through in combination with the hops and just end up being, hopefully, the goods. Cheers. I'll tell you right now, that's tasty. It doesn't get as big and rich in the coffee vibes. I thought it would base off the nose, but it's still there. Nice, rich kind of semi-sweet kind of chocolate mixed with Nutella, mixed with a little bit more hazelnutty kind of thing going on there. So it leans from that coffee direction in the nose to a little bit more of a kind of a nut brown, nutty kind of ale kind of thing going on. And it does come off a little bit kind of leaning slightly into a brown ale than a porter, but it's a porter. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not. But I can drink 750,000 of these. This is malted beer in its purest form. By that I mean, it's not... listen, this isn't the best malted beer I've ever had in my life. It's not even in the top 10, top 20. But this is what I want. This is what I expect when I go to an old school brew pub and they have a brown ale on or they have a porter on. A lot of you might view that as a negative. I don't. Those beers have a time and a place, and those are the time and places. Or when you really want one, like I do now. And it just comes off as so drinkable, so tasty, so well made. Not one hint or whiff or anything of that metallic astringency I'm so susceptible to with a lot of these lower ABV darker beers. It just comes off as just delicious. I mean... the only thing I'd poop on this beer is that it's not 4. You know, I want this beer at 4. And I know I get on the case of IPA all the time. 6 and change isn't that big. But I've had beers that are kind of foot the bill for this. And they've been a lot of English milds. They've been a lot of cask ales, those kind of things. So if I'm going to sit here and call this a porter, I'm going to say it's definitely a porter. It's kind of a brown ale. It's kind of like English mild, like, to me, too. And that's not a negative either. And that's kind of, I guess, if you brew this beer and it comes off and tastes exactly like this, but you get it at 4%, I think you're calling it an English mild more than anything else. But style aside, I'm not a BJCP nerd here and be like, it doesn't fit the guidelines. I'm not that person, nor should any of you be, unless you're judging homebrew competition. it's just delicious. It's tasty. I want to drink 80 of them. Thank you very much, Keith. One of the bright spots of COVID. See these little itty bitty brown ales and porters popping up in cans. You usually don't see that shit. Anyway, let's talk about it. Is this one of the better porters that I've had as of late? Yes. It would almost default there. But I've had some pretty good ones, over the past, 6 to 12 months. Anchor Porter is up there. I actually, it's probably coming second to that, you know what I mean? Just because I love that beer so much, both from a legitimate level to a nostalgic level. And, but it's up there. It's tasty. It's drinkable. I mean, if you lower the ABV and say it's one of the better English miles you've had as of late, I'd be like, yeah. Value and availability, I don't know. Keith, let me know what's what and leave you with if you like what we like this beer. If you like beer, I mean, you know who you are. If you're watching this video, you know who you are. You will like this beer. I've never said that before, but you know who you are. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive. Want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a nice little, little porter right now. We'll see you next time. Cheers.